Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about zodiac sign or astrological sign compatibility between Gemini and Pisces. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant for both signs. Now, anyway, people, well, I think the obvious thing is they are not compatible by sign. They are square by sign. They're three signs apart. You have Gemini being a masculine sign. It's extroverted and gregarious. And you have Pisces being a water sign. It's feminine, suggesting introversion. Pisces can be rather introspective. I think one of the strong thing I see in this relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic, sexual, significant other thing, or what have you, you have a Gemini that could be very whimsical about things. Gemini can Gemini can like to joke, and they may tease a little, but they're generally not going to be malicious. But you have Pisces, which can arguably be the most sensitive sign of the zodiac. And I think sometimes Pisces could be taken aback by sometimes Gemini just liking to tease or just making light of certain situations where Pisces may often take a lot more deeply than the average zodiac sign. And the thing about this is, now Gemini is the kind of person that likes to go out and do different things, meet different people. Gemini can be very talkative and loquacious. Now, Pisces, I'm not saying they don't have their moments where they don't have their moments where they couldn't be talkative, because Pisces can be talkative, but Gemini, I believe, more so. And Gemini being an air sign, they're strongly about being very objective regarding issues. And the stance Pisces could take on a lot of things is being very subjective and more emotional. If this is a situation where it's a significant other, romantic type situation, well, you could have the problem that I would say really that would stand out between these two is that Pisces wants really like an emotional rapport and connection. And Gemini could have a very hard time providing that for the Pisces. The Gemini person may see the Pisces as overly subjective, where the opposite can be true with Pisces perception and Gemini. Pisces may see Gemini as overly objective and not seeing the deeper side, the side that could really be more like a sensitive side of an issue. And I think too, you could possibly have some disparity maybe in the interests. I think Pisces is a sign that could be strongly connected with the metaphysical and sometimes even the paranormal. And Gemini is not really that, to me, on average, compared to Pisces, would not be as much interest in that. Gemini's interests are often about discussing intellectual ideas. They're more about science, talking about technology, talking about things that they feel are really that could be progressive. And I think Pisces is kind of sometimes in their own world. Pisces can be somewhat dreamy, and Pisces often likes to retreat into solitude and seclusion. They like their quiet time, given that they are an introverted sign, and of course much more introverted than Gemini. Now, the thing about this is, too, you have Gemini is really Gemini likes to have strong mental intellectual stimulation. And Pisces is capable of providing that, but that is not really, I don't see Pisces really emphasizing that much, and not enough for Gemini to be appeased. And the thing about Pisces is that they want that emotional connection from Gemini, and Gemini may not really be able to provide that for Pisces that readily. They might need that emotional support from them, and Gemini would have a hard time doing it. Gemini could be sensitive to the mental needs of a person, but not always to the emotional ones. It's not to say or imply that Gemini is insensitive, But Pisces is a lot more, on average, a lot more sensitive to things and in emotion and impacted more emotionally than Gemini is, and that's where you could really see a very big disparity between these two people. And given that they're both mutable signs, on the one positive is that they are both very adaptable. But the problem is you might not have the strong stability in this relationship. You could have a lot of ambiguity, a lot of changing of mind, and it may be hard for one to give the other direction. However, Gemini, being as verbose and eloquent as they are, and an ability to articulate things well, might be able to at least put things in writing for Pisces as far as Pisces dreams go, and maybe give it some direction, and maybe getting them to write it down and maybe do something about their dreams. Now, as far as the bedroom thing goes, as between Gemini and Pisces, well, both are very adaptable. Pisces could be very imaginative. Gemini is versatile, and Gemini really likes to extemporize. But the thing is, Gemini for Pisces is more into, I think, that emotional connection and rapport in the bedroom. And Gemini really, it's hard for me to see Gemini providing that for Pisces. I think Pisces would want the more emotional connection with the sex more, and Gemini may have difficulty providing that for Pisces. And Gemini might see Pisces as too dependent this way as well. Now, anyway, people, it's important also to look at the aspect, if any, that is made between the energies of these people. This could indicate how perhaps these energies may work a little better, or maybe not as well, or about the same, I should say, now, as otherwise indicated. Now, in many cases, you'll have a square aspect take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Gemini at 12 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces at 14 degrees. Well, that would form a square aspect, which could be which is considered adverse or adversarial, and this could only accentuate the negativity of the fact that these signs are square by sign. So, on the positive side, though, you can have an out-of-sign sextile aspect take place between the energies with these people. Now, let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Gemini at 1 degree, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Pisces at 29 degrees. Well, that would form an out-of-sign sextile aspect, which could be auspicious and harmonious. And you still have the fact that they are square by sign, so you're still going to have the disparity and differences there. However, if you have the sextile aspect between these people, it could be these people may be able to work out the differences a little bit better than otherwise indicated. Now, on another positive note, you could also have an out-of-sign trine aspect take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Gemini at 28 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Pisces at 2 degrees. Well, that would form an out-of-sign trine aspect, which could be positive and auspicious. And like the sextile, you could have a better chance of these people working out the disparities and differences than otherwise indicated. However, as you know, they are square by sign and incompatible by sign, so you have to factor that into the equation as well. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for zodiac sign compatibility between Gemini and Pisces. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about zodiac sign compatibility between Cancer and another Cancer. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.